We all know the value of a good shade tree on our property, from the reduction to our utility bills to creating a much more pleasant environment, particularly during the hot days of summer. However, all this shade makes conditions difficult to create a lawn space underneath the canopy. The leaves of a mature shade-tolerant tree can block over 80% of the light getting to the ground, and most turf grasses require at least 6 hours of direct sunlight to grow, with some variation in tolerance using diffuse light. A loss of ground cover can lead to issues like soil compaction or even soil loss from being carried away during large rain events. So what can we do? One way is to use a mulch ring around the base of your tree. This will help moderate the soil moisture for the tree and also to help suppress some weeds. But having an ever-expanding mulch ring can be kind of expensive and has its own issues with upkeep. Raising the branch hang of the tree can also help increase the amount of morning and afternoon light to the area underneath the tree, making conditions a little bit better underneath the tree for grass to grow. Canopy thinning is also a possibility, but it's important to remember that we apply a stress to the tree whenever we're pruning. If done improperly, the health of the tree can decline, leaving it open to pest and disease pressure. A good rule of thumb is to not remove more than 25% of the tree's canopy. For mature trees, I tend to hover somewhere between 10 to 20%, but I'd suggest consulting with a certified arborist first. Every tree is different, and not every tree problem requires the use of a chainsaw. Selecting a shade-tolerant grass when seeding, plugging, or laying sod seems obvious, but can easily be overlooked. Here in East Tennessee, people seem to love tall fescue. While tall fescue can produce a great lawn in open areas, creeping red and fine fescue have much better shade tolerance. There's a multitude of grass seeds currently on the market that can deal with both full sun and part shade. Lastly, dwarf lily turf, also known as dwarf mondo grass, can be used as a lawn alternative for particularly difficult areas. It has excellent shade and drought tolerance, and it also tolerates repeated mowing and heavy foot traffic. However, there's likely going to be a visible difference in both color and texture compared with the rest of your lawn. And like the name suggests, dwarf mondo grass only grows to about 5 inches tall and spreads about as far. It's recommended that plugs should be spaced 2 to 4 inches apart, so it can be rather expensive for large areas and might be better suited for persistent bare patches rather than the complete replacement of your lawn. Creating the perfect balance in a new yard between tree and ground cover ultimately will come down to what you're going to be using that space for. But it's important to remember that over time, your landscape will change. Your yard is alive after all, and is constantly trying to find a balance using the light, water, and soil that's available to it. Pay attention to how your lawn changes throughout the year, because sometimes all it takes is just a nudge here and there to promote stable, long-term enjoyment of your landscape for years to come.